Hello everybody, this is Craig Bennett, the founder and owner of Tech Reviews and Help, and today I am reviewing a product I've been wanting to review for a while. I just hadn't gotten around to it. The product is called a ADD HUD. I'm not really sure if the ADD stands for anything. I'm doubting it does, since you're adding the HUD or heads-up display to your vehicle. This is for cars and trucks, not motorcycles, not boats, not anything else like that. Just purely for cars and trucks. But the heads-up display, I got a box with me right now, and it says project speed, RPM, water temperature, voltage. It also does some other stuff with auxiliary power, and also warns you on speed limits and whatnot. But you have two main models. But on those, each of those models have two side models. Basically, two main models. One is a plug-in play, which I have, and basically you plug it into the car, plug it into a special port in the car. Most car, I think any car 98 or newer has a certain plug-in. I'll get into that in a second. And the other one, you have to actually install the parts out through the car. If you get a one where you have to install parts out through your car, that's really only for older cars, and you need to really get a professional to install stuff, because something like this is very complicated, and you want the measurements to be right, especially when you're going in speed. But the side models of each one of those, you got a standard and matrix. You got standard mile per hour. You got kilo miles for Europe and pretty much every other part of the world besides the United States. But because I live in the United States, click on the miles per hour, but there really is no difference between them. I mean, they both take the OBD port. The OBD port, I'll get to that in a second. And the prices on is, as you see, is $140 on Amazon. You might be able to shop around and find it cheaper. There's not too many places that actually have a heads-up display. And that's the unfortunate thing, is you really don't have a choice on where you can get one. And hopefully I can show you a little bit about this when I tape record this tomorrow in my car. Anyways, it says here it measures RPM, water temperature, voltage, and speed. It's for 96 and up vehicles for most of them. The installation, it does say 10 minutes or less, but I actually installed it in 30 seconds. That does not count the actual screen on the windshield. The kit does come with the necessary plugins, the actual device itself, and a little film. The little film is very, very small. I think it's like a 12-inch, very small film. And from my experience with this, is you can just leave the film off, and all the film is supposed to do is help you see the actual heads-up display better. But from my experience, the actual heads-up display projects a so bright display that you can see it during the daytime with no problem. But it still is good to actually have that film on there, because I found if you're, say, behind a bright white car, or the white lines in the road are over where the heads-up display is, it will actually blend in with the actual heads-up display. It's really hard to see at those moments, and that's where film does kick in. But one thing I gotta also mention is putting on the film itself. It's actual pain. I mean, I put in tint on majority of my vehicles, from trucks, Corvettes, regular cars, whatnot. And the thing is when you're putting on tint on a actual windshield, the windshield's so concave that it's extremely hard to not get bubbles in there. So much to the point that I gave up, walked away, but I found within a month or less, I just stopped noticing it. And one day I looked at it and noticed it. There was no air bubbles in it. I mean, there was massive air bubbles when I first put it on there. And I was flipping back and forth if I was even going to keep that film on there. But since all the air bubbles got out by itself, I think it's because of heat, then I'm just going to leave it on there. The other bad problem is if you do try to put a big piece of film on your windshield, you need to check with your local laws. This small little thing is from, I did my research and it seemed to be legal in just about everywhere, but you need to make sure on that. But a big piece of film, and its actual percentage, the percentage of your windshield, then if you cover so much, then you did something illegal. And the ports, in fact, here is a port. One thing to keep in mind is insurance companies do use the same port. So, Progressive, Allstate, and a couple others started recently, and Progressive's done a lot of marketing on this, where you plug it in, get a discount. And that little plug-in and get a discount thing is an actual real device, and it goes into your OBD port. And you can get a splitter like this, and that way you can plug in both that and the HUD. And let me show you a site talking a little more about OBDs. There's two sites with pretty good OBD showing. It's this obdii.com. You can go through it and look at it, but there's also in Wikipedia, and this is a picture of an OBD port, a onboard diagnostics port. And where it's located, I never seen a vehicle without it located under the steering wheel. So check under the steering wheel or around the steering wheel area, and you pretty much could find it. I've never seen it anywhere else. It's somewhere on the driver's side. I see it on the left side of the steering wheel. I see it on my current vehicle. It's on, I think it's on the right side. So I mean, it's somewhere down there under, but it's usually, and I'm pretty much going to say about 100%, it's on the driver's side. And it looks like this. It's a little difficult to see. It's very small. And the thing to note with this port is you can mess up your entire car, because this port connects to your chip. The chip, it connects to your gas and whatnot, and what it does is it detects the amount of oxygen, amount of carbon dioxide and whatnot. And I could be wrong about this, but this is what I was told by mechanics. And I'm not a true mechanic. I can do basic things on a car. I can modify cars, but a lot of information I get is from mechanics. And what I was told by mechanics is if you mess up this port, you can make it where your car won't even crank up, and that's a very expensive thing to replace. But I can about guarantee you this, and I'm not. And if you plug in this and use this device, it's to your advantage to keep note that is on you. But you can also take it up with that company that sells that product. But I could pretty much guarantee you that you will not have a problem if you do what the instructions say, and if you do it right. Obviously, if you jerk it around, mess up, then yeah, you could mess with that port. But if you just plug it in straight, you should be alright. The next part of this video is going to try to show you the port and stuff in my car, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. And right here's the OBD port, and hopefully you can see it. It's flickering because of the camera, and it's not flickering in real life. It's the I think it's the frame rate or the wavelength that the LED is putting off. Try to show you. this in action. Car's stuttering because it's a cold day. And let's see if you can see the voltage and the water temperature on the left. And see if we can remember how to do this. I don't really use the auxiliary feature on here, so I can't pull it up, but right now I have to look that up. But the auxiliary feature is more if you're testing out the performance of your car and doing stuff like that, which I don't. The cool thing with this, it does show if you go above a certain speed limit. I got it set to 60. You can set the speed limit to whatever you want. So if your general area that you travel through is like 35, then obviously you want to set it to that, where here it's 60 or 55, and I set to 60. And to show you what it looks like when it's turned off, I don't know if you can see that. Turn back on. Shows the voltage. I was able to turn on the auxiliary feature. It started playing with it for a second, and this is what it does. I mean, that's it. So it has no real function for the average person, but I guess if you're fine-tuning your car or something like that, it might be functional. It's not even an advertised feature, so I don't even think the developers of this actually thought of it being a functional thing. One thing that the package does say that it doesn't do is headlight warning. It's supposed to detect if it's nighttime and if you don't have your headlights on, and that could easily because of my car that doesn't really detect if I got my headlights on or not. I looked around and it seems like no one really talks about it, and I don't think anyone actually seen anything shown on that feature. But it is on a box, so keep that in mind. One thing I forgot to mention is there is a ratio on the actual heads-up display, and the heads-up display gives you a ratio on the speed. What I found is you need to mark it as 0, because my first few days when I was driving it, I had a plus something, and it's just basically a little correction in case of your speeds are slightly off, but you need to fix that to 0 when you first get it, and that way it'll display the actual correct speed. And to do that is very easy. It's not actually within a manual. The manual is slightly hard to read, but it is within there. Again, if you go ahead and buy this product or use any product like that, if the car messes up, it's on you and the company that sold it to you. It's not up to the person who reviewed the product and it worked for them. It's basically don't shoot the messenger. But if you got any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. All you have to do is go to my website, go to Contact Us, and go down to my email. Have a good day.